Happy birthday, dear Krypto. Happy birthday to you. My name is Michael Knipp, welcome back to my channel, and I am here today to celebrate the birthday of one of my good book friends, Krypto from the Codex Cantina. As a celebration of his birthday and a dedication to Krypto, they decided to create a new original tag called the We Ain't Getting Younger book tag. As Una mentions in the original tag video, the prompt flavor text are based off of old people greeting cards. So here we go. While it's proven too many birthdays can kill you, the amount of cake we can eat is still under debate. Name the most recent book that gave you a sugar/book high. I'm gonna say, man, this is a harder one than I thought it would be. What is the last book that gave me a book high? How about Full Moon from the Dresden Files? I just finished that and I read it really quickly. I really enjoyed it. It was pretty light and fluffy and it was good sugar pop fantasy detective stories. Liked it, definitely. Sometimes we get older and wider instead of older and wiser. Dude. Don't I know it? Name the longest book you've ever read. So in the original video, Krypto talked about how he didn't know if you could count the Bible. I've never read it cover to cover the way that I would read a normal book. That's probably the actual answer. I'm gonna have to, I know it's a bad word when I use it on this channel, but it has to be Oathbringer. That was the biggest book I've ever read. That's gotta be it, right? 3, the best part about pictures is that they're always a younger version of you. Name a book that you enjoyed more the first time you read it than the second. I always like to talk a lot of praise on the Redwall series, and that is deserved as far as I know. I haven't read it in a long time, but I do know when I was reading through the series, I've read through the first numerous entries in that series many times, publication order. The original book, Redwall, was one of my least favorites of all of the books in the series, even though when I first read that book, it was my first introduction into that world, and I really loved it. It just didn't hold up compared to the other ones, which were much better. 4, as you get older, you must learn to never skip a bathroom break before jumping in a car ride. Name a book you read in very few sittings. So I'm going to talk about a book series that I never ever hear people talk about on BookTube from an author that I hear lots of people talk about on BookTube, the Wayward Pines trilogy. I've talked about this many times. 2 of these books I read in one sitting, or basically one sitting in one day. The third one was still within a 24-hour period, but I did need to go to sleep. The Wayward Pines trilogy is such a freaking blast. It has a lot of my favorite elements of a story within that narrative. And also, Blake Crouch is a very good author that a lot of people already do seem to know from Recursion and Dark Matter. I love the Wayward Pines trilogy a lot. 5, don't let old age get you down because it's harder to get back up these days. Name a book you had to put down and why. Okay, I don't want to cause any controversy because I know this is a popular book right now. So I got The Cruel Prince from my library. I then tweeted asking if I should make a reading vlog of it. The majority of the people voted yes. I started reading that book and vlogging my experience, and I got to the 25% mark. I got a quarter into the book. And you guys realize I don't DNF books, but I'm sitting there and I have a bunch of other books that I want to read, and I have videos I want to make and things I need to do outside of BookTube, and I looked and realized that that book was probably going to take me another, numerous number of hours to read. There was nothing particularly bad in the book that I super disliked. There also was absolutely nothing in the book that I liked enough to want to continue reading. It is the first book I have DNF'd in my BookTube career, and it was freeing in a way. I do feel bad because so many people like the book and I didn't even finish it to really give it a shot. But honestly, it wasn't good enough to hold my interest, and it had some things that were really just, I thought were a little dumb. So yeah, I'll say The Cruel Prince. 6, age isn't how long you've been alive, it's how many lives you've lived. What book genres have you been wanting to try outside of your comfort zone? So at this point, I think I would describe my comfort zone as mostly fantasy and science fiction, some thriller. If I wanted to say I wanted to check a book outside my comfort zone, it might be poetry. I really enjoy music, and I know that's not the same thing, but I really enjoy music. I enjoy interpreting music. I think that poetry might be something that some of those skills might cross over, and I might enjoy that as well. And yeah, I did just steal the answer from the original tag video as well. 7, life gets worse the older you get. Luckily, you don't have much left. Name a good book that slowly turned sour for you, but you finished anyways. Were you glad you stuck it out? Okay. So I'm going to do a throwback to something that I read last year and that was a book called Smoke by Dan Villetta. First of all, has a beautiful cover. The cover drew me in, and it's honestly one of the big reasons that I decided to look at the synopsis. As always, I looked at the synopsis, thought it seemed super fascinating, and I read that book. And I got like a third into that book, and then I looked up some Goodreads reviews, just because I was generally curious. I hadn't heard many people talk about the book. I didn't know whether it was praised or criticized by people, and I realized that it had a mediocre Goodreads review. And I saw a lot of people on Goodreads giving it negative reviews. And I was the third into this book saying, I don't understand what these people are talking about. This book is very good. Like, I'm vibing with it. I think it has a really cool premise and world setup. The characters seem like they could be really interesting. By the 50% mark, I was like, oh my, how is it possible that this is so much longer? And then the last like 30% of that book, I straight up hate read because I knew that it was so bad, and I had already put myself through so much that I might be able to have fun making a rant review, which I did. Now, my editing techniques and standards have changed quite a bit since I made some of my first videos, including my Smoke by Dan Villetta rant review. But that review is the most cohesive 20 minutes I've ever talked in front of a camera in my entire life. I did not feel like I had to cut a single thing or splice anything. It is all one take, and that is something I have never been able to accomplish before that, and definitely never been able to accomplish since. Now my videos are choppy as all get out because most of the time I'm just staring blankly into a wall or I get distracted by something. Do I regret finishing the book? Maybe. Because now that I've DNF'd a book one time, it felt freeing. Yes, I got a rant review out of it, but what if I had time to read a book I liked instead? I don't know. 8. Peer pressure seems to decrease as you get older. Where did all your friends go? Dang, dude! That's a savage, dark, and deep question you ask there, but okay. Name a book that you checked out because of peer pressure. Were you happy to have tried it? A book that I tried out because of peer pressure. Dark Matter. All right, I'll say Dark Matter. Does that count? I really loved the Wayward Pines trilogy. I read that first. I saw a bunch of people talking good about Dark Matter. I read that and it was amazing. In case that counts as a cheat because I already used that one, let's use another example. The Lies of Locke Lamora. I saw a lot of people that I respected on BookTube talking about that series and recommending it. Everything about it sounded awesome. I ended up liking it so much for the angles that I didn't even see recommended, which is that book is secretly the Fast and the Furious but fantasy. Heck yeah, it was awesome. BookTube peer pressure to read awesome books is amazing. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. 9. Friends don't let friends get older alone. Tag people. This time, I'm going to tag Ashley from Read Now Sleep Later. I don't think I've ever tagged you. I don't know how that's possible, but I know that you and Emily Rose are reading Dark Matter or just finished Dark Matter. But I know that you texted me the other day that you were in a certain point in Dark Matter and it blew your mind. I'm glad that you're finally reading some Blake Crouch. Consider yourself tagged. Real quick disclaimer, I'm tagging these people not because I think they're old. Codex Cantina tagged like Casey from Lost in a Bookcase, who is definitely younger than the majority of the people that I interact with, so it's not an old thing. Don't take it as an old thing. I'm not calling you guys old. Thank you. I'm also tagging Joanna from Joannotations. She's a great member of this community, and she also does a really fun thing, which is on Friday night, she's been doing basically a big trivia live stream. I participated in that last week, and it was a blast. I recommend you go check out your channel if you haven't already. Joanna, consider yourself tagged. And Kayla from Books with Kayla, a channel that I found semi-recently, you should go check out her channel if you like fantasy, which you might if you are on my channel. I know that I talk about Sanderson too much, so I'll let her do it for me. This is a spoiler video, but if you have read Oathbringer and want to see somebody gush about it in a beautiful way, go check out her recently posted reading vlog for that book. It's very good. It helped me be able to feel things that I just experienced again, and that was really cool. Kayla, consider yourself tagged. Thank you guys again so much for watching this video. If you've gotten to this point, please subscribe if you want to see more from me. Hit the like button if you like the video. If you dislike it, hit the dislike button. Down in the comments below if you're still listening to prove that you made it to the end of the video. In addition to whatever you want to talk to about books, go ahead and comment your favorite guilty pleasure dancing song that you like to dance to and sing in the shower. I love you all. I hope you're safe and sane. See you next time. Bye.
No one ever get enough. Always looking out tired. Sleep. No one ever get enough. If it don't show up, I might get fired. Sleep. No one ever get enough. Always looking out tired, sleep. No, I never get enough. If I don't show up, I might get fired.